Joining us now from Capitol Hill to talk about the latest when it comes to the budget and other things, Representative Ralph Norman, Republican of South Carolina. He serves the 5th District, also a member of the Budget Committee, also a member of the House Freedom Caucus. Representative Norman, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you very much. There's reporting this morning, Representative, that the House Freedom Caucus has its own vision of a budget. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, we have two resolutions that really were born because we haven't been able to get together. And I'm on the Budget Committee, but we hadn't been able to put anything out. I think that may change. There's a meeting going on now that I'll go to after this interview. But the bottom line is the Freedom Caucus put it on paper. And the first is addresses the deportation and the fact that our military is just way underfunded, and the things that are going to the military are not what we need. And it's to the tune of new spending of $200 billion, offset with $486 billion in cuts. Cuts like the giveaway student loans, cuts like the EV mandates, cuts like the funding that illegals can take advantage of now, the federal government. As a result, we're saving $286 billion instead of spending. So the great part about what we're doing is basic. We ought to be able to do this with 218 Republicans. It increases the debt limit to $4 trillion, so the president has leverage of his own and not with Chuck Schumer. That's the first one. The second one we just got last night is a thing that covers what the president wants in no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security if you wait till you're 70. And what's included, the big thing is the tax cuts that President Trump had during his administration and started in 2017 are extended for 10 years. That's the good news. And it's an additional savings and cuts things that should have been cut years ago or at least altered. Those are the two. And we shouldn't need any Democrats' support because they're not going to support it anyway.
Our guest with us, because he has to go to that meeting, a little shortened segment, but if you want to ask him questions about these efforts, 202-748-8001 for Republicans, 202-748-8000 for Democrats, and Independents, 202-748-8002. We'll show you that outline of what's been introduced by the Freedom Caucus when it comes to their approach to the budget. Mr. Norman, Representative Norman, what reaction did you get from leadership over this?
We'll find out at 9 this morning. We've been in Andy Harris, who's our president of Freedom Caucus, has had some conversation, but I get Mike is trying to, it's like herding cats with all the different mindsets that he has to put together, but this is bare bones. We're running out of time. We've wasted a lot of time talking about it. We've had a retreat. It's time to put it in action and do what we say we were going to do to the American people, which is cut the deficit, cut unneeded programs, as DOSH is showing, and let's get the job and move on. And I think we're doing that. Our two plans are pretty simple, but they're on paper, they have numbers, and it makes sense.
You said you were waiting on reaction from the House Speaker. Do you think he'll meet you all the way on this?
No, I do not. Now, I don't know what figure he has. He's trying to get, the 218, as I mentioned, so we'll see what comes of it. And bottom line is we can't keep going like we're going. We've always heard the figures, 37 trillion in debt. That's a real number. That's something nobody can disagree with. So how do you get there? It's not by spending more. You got to have offsets, and that's what this attempts to do.
It was on the Senate side, Representative, that the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer talked about the Republicans, their effort on the budget, particularly when it says the larger issue of a tax cut. I want to play you a little bit what he had to say, get your reaction to it.
One bill, two bills? No. It could be 50 bills. I don't care. It comes down to the same thing. The end goal for Republicans to pass gargantuan tax cuts for Donald Trump and their billionaire friends. Cut the daylights out of everything else. Medicaid, Medicare, school lunches, prescription drug reform, medical research for these tax cuts. The American people are going to learn this as we move forward, and I don't think they're going to like it.
So, Representative, that's how he characterizes your efforts. How would you respond to that?
That's hogwash. He knows better than, well, maybe he doesn't know better than that. But, you know, his plan is to spin this country into oblivion and, you know, have the kind of rhetoric that he's always had. And no, it's not cutting Medicare, it's reforming it. Obama had the largest expansion of Medicaid, people on Medicaid in the history, and work requirements. He's opposed to that. He's opposed to anything that's not spending money. We just have a philosophical disagreement, which is no secret to all of us who are trying to put this country back on a fiscal path of sanity. What's his plan? Spend more, and that doesn't make sense.
Well, when it comes to the topic you brought up, Medicare, what would that re-envisioning look like?
Re-envisioning is block granting the dollars to the states, let them decide how it wants to be allocated, getting illegals off any federal program, including Medicaid. And I would say that the ones that really help puts the dollars to good use is getting people who can work off Medicaid. You got a lot of able-bodied adults who are on it, and it's just letting the states decide it, but having outlines that says what they can do and can't do. And if you're able-bodied, you shouldn't be on Medicaid. And that's not that complicated.
Joining us from Capitol Hill, Representative Ralph Norman, a member of the Budget Committee. Here's